Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Friday. It's January 9th, 2026. I hope you're doing well. I just want to get a quick cut here. They've already been shuffled well, cut many times, but just so you know, we're working with fresh energy here. Here we go. And we're just going to get right into it. All right. Just trying to do a quick message if I can. Oh, do you see that? You see how that came out? I don't know. I think I got to take that. I don't know. Should I take that upright? Let me see the bottom. That'll tell me, is it King of Pentacles? Somebody sad because they lost something. I'm gonna keep it in the struggle because there's some reason for some stress, some distress here. I mean, even if it's upright, you know, there still, that still is a thing. But I think it being in the struggle, you know, it makes simple enough sense so that whether or not somebody is on the upside of some despair or, you know, on the downside, they're not quite out of the woods emotionally about something. There's some type of stronghold or breakthrough needed. It could be on account of finances, or it could be in spite of financial stability, as the King of Pentacles characteristically has. That somebody still, okay, that makes sense. That somebody still find that makes sense for the struggle too, because as the King of Pentacles, what, you know, you would think, what would be the cause for despair emotionally, which, you know, we know that is really not that peculiar, because we know that money doesn't necessarily bring happiness, but it sure does help sometimes. But there's some level of insecurity here, and I like how I felt on the despite someone's affluence or material magnitude, wealth, position, influence. It's like for all that somebody would have to be happy about, there's still some unrest. So it's like getting everything that you could possibly have set out to do, you know, to do so in the material form, but still feeling sad, still feeling like there might be something you're struggling with that you can't quite put your finger on. Maybe is the struggle position of it. Because again, it's like, nah, I got everything that I wanted. Why don't? Maybe it's the way that you got it. Maybe it's the responsibility of maintaining it. Maybe it was never the thing to reach fulfillment in the first place, but somebody had to kind of come to that point to realize that. I don't know. Let me see what else. And now that one's in a struggle. Well, obviously I'm kind of flicking them off that way. But hey, I'm gonna just keep it how it is today. We'll keep it raw and uncut. So we got this. So it's like good news with bad news is the Page of Wands. So it's like on one hand, something may be bittersweet. Either information that someone's receiving, like you want the good news or the bad news first type of energy, or some resolve or resolution that someone has come to has a bittersweet essence. It's like it might solve one thing but hurt something else, or it solves part of the problem, but there's still, you know, some aspect that just can't be treated or can't be remedied. All right, let's see what else. We also got 5 meaning change, so there could be some type of change that someone's needing to manage. I'm hearing like a lifestyle change. That someone's okay, so maybe someone's preparing for a significant lifestyle change, maybe even a financial one, starting with that King of Pentacles. Maybe there's some great loss that is projected in the near future that may be inevitable. Like I was saying, it's like you see it coming down the pike, or there's some news that, you know, there might be a bright side of one thing, but the foundation of it all is still pretty disparaging in some way or another. Like to find out you lost, I don't know, like you lost the bid on a really big construction contract. This is real specific. I don't know, like some type of construction bid or contractual bid that you lost. No, that doesn't quite work, does it? Because what I'm trying to give an example of is where it's like you lost some, but something was still preserved, or something wasn't affected, or something like that. Or maybe like you lost, you know, a stock of yours plummeted over here, but another one, you know, either wasn't touched or it climbed a little bit. It's like, okay, well, thank God that the other one is stabilized for now, but it doesn't take away from what may have been lost on account of the other circumstance, something like that. No, I don't know if that was worth the time and effort, but I tried. All right, let's see what else is going on with this Page of Wands. Or it could be some type of disappointing news about something someone has to do that they really don't want to hear. Either they don't want to hear or they don't want to do, whatever. Like, it's like you can fix this by doing X, Y, and Z. The good news is something can be fixed. The bad news is the way you have to fix it is not ideal, at least for this person. Like, it's almost as bad as the problem itself. You know, like something like that's better. That was worth the time. That was better. Okay, let's see. Yeah, with the Hangman. Yeah, somebody's stuck. Between what feels like, anyway, a rock and a hard place, because like I said, there is a solution or there is a silver lining, but it either poses a different concern, a deeper concern is what I almost said, or a different concern, or it creates a different problem or some type of circumstance that's still just as unfavorable. So it's like the wise thing, the enlightened thing to do might be really hard to make agreement with or settle on in this particular moment, because it's like somebody really would love a choice C or door number 3, you know. Ooh, oh shit, is that door number 3? Oh my God. Well, there's that. And it's also given, like, to me, something very absolute, you know, that this is it. That these are the choices. You can do this. And it's, yeah, with the 5 of Cups, it's like somebody's still crying over spilled milk about what, this is exactly what that is. When I'm looking at these cups, they're crying over what was lost, and it's like, well, there's nothing that can be done about that at this point. You know, there's absolutely, oh, that's my nail tech calling. She didn't. Oh gosh. I know she's not calling me to come in. Hold on. Nah, I can't even pick that up right now. I gotta call her back. We've been having the craziest confusion in scheduling my New Year appointment, and I think that's why she might be calling. I hope she didn't expect me in, because the last communication that made sense to me was that she would let me know. So, you know, it's one of them things. Like, I hope she's not sitting there waiting for me to come in. But anyway, sorry about that. So sorry. Yeah, it's something final here where somebody really doesn't have as much of a choice in order to preserve the best possible outcome. They're going to probably have to still do something that they'd rather not do, or else, you know, or else there's something far more there's far more detrimental consequence here if they don't. And I'm also getting a sense that there's not either much time or there isn't any time to deliberate this anymore. Yeah. There's an expectation for someone not only to make a decision, but to act with urgency is what I'm feeling. Let me see. She texted me. So let's see what I'm working with. Oh. No, she didn't. Oh no. She thought she confirmed, but she didn't. All right, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for the distraction. Let's move on to the next one. This is supposed to be a short message. I mean, it would have been nice to get in there, but I kind of just chalked it up to next week at this point. Really, I think I'm about to take a little, I don't know, I'm saying that, but I don't know. I might be about to take a little break for the winter from that pampering bill. Yeah, like, as a lady, if you know, then you certainly know how it can add up over time. It's probably the most that the thing I do most consistently for myself, you know, but not without cost, that's for sure, and moderate cost compared to, you know, how fancy people, you know, do their nails nowadays. I ain't even that fancy, but it still adds up. All right, anyway, we shall see though. Sometimes I see girls with their Amazon press-ons, and I'm like, what? That's cute. Like, that looked like you went and sat in a shop for an hour. But, you know, you also have to have the time and the patience to do that for yourself. And that's a whole nother thing. So you pay for the convenience to let an expert do it for you, which I do like. I do appreciate that. All right, so we got the Eight of Pentacles here, and it's somebody hard at work. So let's see with the Knight of Swords. Maybe somebody looking for a job. That's what I'm getting. Like somebody now. So somebody might be in a position where they're either, oh, okay. So that could be the some despairing news for someone maybe that was in a King of Pentacles position, pretty financially self-sufficient, to have taken some type of loss. And now, you know, King of Pentacles, you consider he is perhaps even an entrepreneur, if not a boss in some regard, but definitely financially stable. But that what might be a turning point for someone is them now having to kind of like get back out there or beat the pavement for a position that will ultimately re-stabilize their losses. Could be, and that could be the aggression here. But it seems like in a fit of rage in some way, shape, or form, like maybe begrudgingly, because it's like, well, I don't really want to get back out in the workforce, but I need to eat, or I got bills, or whatever. Like there's some type of obligation here that makes it feel more of a force, or, you know, yeah, like like a burden. But then we got the the Three of Cups here. That could be, let me see. If it was a Three of Pentacles, I would definitely, which I almost said, I think, it would definitely be like the rejoining or reacclimating into the workforce type of thing. But Three of Cups is a little bit more celebratory than that. Somebody's celebrating. It could be people on the outside celebrating somebody's downfall. That's what I'm getting, because the energy is such a contrast to everything else that I'm speaking on. But somewhere, somebody's like, yes, yeah, yes, slapping fives, you know, like recounting the story, spilling the tea, laughing, joking, totally amused, perhaps. Could even just be gossip, you know, gossiping about somebody's regression in some way, shape, or form. Like, you heard such and such had to such and such working for Amazon now, or door dashing. It could be that Knight of Swords. Could be, you know, is door dashing or Uber Eats or whatever the case. Like, you hear that's what he's doing now? Child, that's a mess. Just talking shit. Who cares at the end of the day? I mean, obviously somebody does. That's way too many. But I'm seeing the Tower and the Magician peeking out at me on the top. And then I'm seeing this as I'm trying to get the cards together, the Nine of Wands. Yeah, so it's looking like somebody is culminating. But see, I don't know though. It's like I feel like the completion is ending. It's something that's ending in a struggle, if that makes sense. More than that Nine of Wands representing somebody that is bringing closure to a tough cycle, or something that took a lot of resilience and, you know, things like that. It's like it gives like someone that's put in a whole lot of work and is looking back, in this case, and feeling like it wasn't worth it. You know, like really looking back and trying to figure out like what was the point of doing all of that, doing all that they did just to come to the place that they are in now. Somebody might be really stuck again in the past, like recounting their actions, their missteps, what they could have, should have done differently if they had known what they know now, known then what they know now type of energy, and almost like romanticizing a chance for like a do-over. But to me it feels like in a like I said, like begrudgingly, like, oh, just give me one more shot, give me one more chance, and I swear to God I'll knock it out the park this time. Like, they know too much now. But I don't get the sense that, you know, it would be a do-over on the same terms. Like, that wouldn't even be fair. It's like you got the cheat sheet now. You got the, you know, the answer key. Let me see. Let me get a few more on this one. Could even, this Three of Cups could even be old acquaintances or friends or comrades or associates that, you know how it is. When you're in, you're in. When you're out, you're out. And they are no longer on the inside of this affiliation. And so now they're the gossip of it, I guess. You know, ooh, was that? No, it couldn't be. I thought that was, I was say I already got the death card. I thought that was the death. It was the Chariot. Whoa, Five of Pentacles. Yeah, it's just some folks laughing at somebody else's downfall. But, I mean, rest assured, what goes around comes around. So, that wouldn't be wise either. But that's what it's given. And again, someone is trying to, it's like they haven't lost it all, but what there's a projection that that's what's coming. So that's what it's like. There's some parts, there's something that's been preserved, or, you know, some bright side of this story or whatever news somebody has received, but not without some type of caution. Or, I mean, if they're not already in this position, it's definitely something, you know, some type of warning against it, or else, you know, it's like you got to take some type of action, or this is where it's headed. Let me see one more, and I'm gonna move on. Oh, shoot. Well, that definitely wasn't fair how that fell out, but I'm gonna leave it since I left everything else. The Nine of Pentacles in the struggle. So yeah, it's like somebody is ultimately racing to stabilize their independence with really what do you call it, like challenging odds. Yeah, it's like somebody has a lot of challenge to face in order to kind of pull themselves out of a very codependent or just dependent in general position where someone might ultimately need public assistance or some type of relief, or maybe even housing support or medical assistance, perhaps, because that, the stress of it all could materialize into, something physical. So it's like somebody's seeing, maybe they're seeing all of this potential, like this, maybe this is the outlook, or this is the projection that someone is facing. It's like, well, if you don't do whatever the decision or action may be required, this is the potential. Like the handwritings on the wall. It's really causing for someone to almost instantaneously have a shift in perspective with this hangman, because their first mind would be to act in pride and ego, or act out of pride and ego. But their survival mind, in this case, doesn't really have that luxury. Like if you're looking at a potential for your entire livelihood to just dissipate, then it may cause to make some strong decisions that, again, are not so favorable. Five of Wands. Now, the way this looked up at me, it was looking at me face up, but the way that it fell was kind of reversed, believe it or not. So it's hard to really say what it should be, but let's get another card with it. All these fives, well, not all these, but the two. Oh, yeah, three. Yeah. Only missing one. The five of what? Got of Wands. So, yeah, it's like somebody's really facing some major changes in their lifestyle, major lifestyle changes that, of course, aren't favorable because of the discomfort that the comfort that it interrupts, or discomfort that it imposes. However, it's also like, all right, but you're not dead, but you still got your body, you still got your mind, you still got, hands and feet, perhaps. You still got your senses, like you still an able body in some way, shape, or form. But it's like, damn, the way someone was accustomed to living is being completely disrupted. And it's almost as if like they really don't have a great defense against it. The disruption of the comfort, they don't have a great defense against. The greatest choice that they have is what they do on the other side, how they manage that disruption. This could be somebody that don't want to get a job because they don't want, it could be somebody that maybe didn't work before, or they were entrepreneur, or they had multiple things going on, financially, investments or hustles or whatever. So the fact that they may have to go somewhere and work where they might be seen, like going to work at Target or Walmart or whatever, whatever position that could be publicly embarrassing or humiliating for someone, if they were seen, and or could just be something that, again, is a blow to someone's pride and ego, because it's not something that you really want to go and brag about. But at the same time, like I said, you surviving, you paying your bills, you're eating, you're staying alive some type of way. It's like, it's hard to really weigh the gratitude between those two things when, in this case, this is somebody that's losing a great deal on the front end. And maybe the struggle in the Five of Swords is like somebody really just not wanting to take an L, or not wanting to look like they've taken an L. Even if there are ways that can be identified, as I'm saying, where someone obviously is winning because you're able to recoup, recover, figure out what to do from here. All is not completely lost, but the ways in which something is reflecting on someone feels just as devastating, apparently. To the point where that may be the tug of war that someone's still trying to figure out, like how to recoup back to their original state. But there's something about that original state that was dismantled in the first place as to why that they're here. Like I said in the beginning, it could be a matter of how someone earned their wealth or their finances, what someone had to do, or the stress of what you had to do to obtain it or maintain it. Could be the questionable piece here, which means that it's not something that could be easily recouped, couldn't righteously be recovered in a sustainable way. So if someone's still fighting that battle to get back to where they were, they would be, shadow boxing pretty much, because that expression of themselves is gone. Essentially, it's time to rebuild and recover for what's ahead. And that could also be the struggle. And why I said somebody's like seething, like, ooh, I swear to God, if I just get one more chance to get back, just give me a couple stacks. And if I swear I could flip that into $1 million. I don't even know why I just said that. That could even be somebody looking to, to persuade investors or people to support them, or, to loan them money to get back on their feet, and they're finding those doors are closed. Those connections, that access is closed. Yeah. Wanting the lines of credit to be extended, but they don't have any collateral. Not like somebody's not really good for it at this time. So it's like they're too high of a risk. Yeah, and what I say earlier, what goes around comes around. And that confirms exactly what I said. It's like probably something that's not unfair transpiring here on account of what someone did when they were in a position of privilege or advantage, or high favor to do so. It's just coming back around, whatever that was, however that person operated, however they obtained their wealth, has to be accounted for at some point. May have taken a long time to account for it, but here's the justice to further confirm where we are with this. It's fair. It's cause and effect. Law of attraction. Yep. Something that's being put into motion or that's coming back around because it was expelled at a time. So it has nowhere to go but back to where it came from, ultimately. So now someone might be finding themselves again, as I said, in a position where they need assistance, they need support, maybe even need a handout, a hand up, a helping hand, a handshake, I don't know, like a thumbs up, something. They need something. And, you know, the magnitude of those resources or availability of those resources in their particular time of need will be directly reflective of how they were a resource or an asset to others or not when they had it to give. Oh, I think that was the Three of Pentacles too, finally. Ooh, High Priestess popped out off the top. I don't even know what that means. I guess that's like Lady Justice. Spiritual and, like spiritual and physical justice is what this is amounting to be. Which is exacted differently, I mean, because you could see somebody going through something in the physical, like in the material sense, and it don't make no sense whatsoever. Like, damn, what the hell? Why is somebody going through, like, what's going on with so-and-so, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and then you could, but you wouldn't know perhaps what transpired in the shadows of somebody's life to bring them to a certain point of karma. And it really just being about whatever lesson needs to be learned, through that processing of experience. But it's something here, like with the Justice and the High Priestess, it's something that feels important to me to highlight. And it feels contradictory too, though, because, I mean, the High Priestess, justice is usually like announced or, proclaimed, declared in some type of way, but the High Priestess is usually more of a secretive energy. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's something about something that's kind of incognito, or or the, like I said, the exacting of justice, however it plays out, may appear to be like random or harsh, or like that it, like a mismatch, you know, like it doesn't make sense why, let's say the King of Pentacles is on food stamps. You're the King of Pentacles, but you don't know that, what you wouldn't know is that maybe the King of Pentacles was like fudging their numbers for a long time, like manipulating their numbers so it seemed like they were doing better than what they were, and so therefore their stock price, like it could be, you know, it's like somebody that may have a high position, um or some type of, you know, access or authority, or again, wealth, status, but you don't know how they've been handling either business or just their lifestyle in general behind the scenes, that's been like a lower frequency investment into what they are now on the receiving end of. And even and that in itself is kind of revealing, except that you may not with the naked eye really know what you're looking at. You know, like a high priestess would be able to see like, oh, somebody's having X, Y, and Z issues, and know like this is a direct connection to something spiritual, like some type of spiritual dis-ease or disorder or something like that. And that's what makes it admissible and fair, and you know what I mean, and balanced. But outside looking in, naked eye looking, you know, looking in, it's just like, damn, poor so and so. He would, you know, he would never hurt a fly. And here he is, you know what I mean? Like, Or maybe people will know, because this is the age of Aquarius, so maybe people are a bit more keen to like, what's going on with you, Bill? Like, why you going through them issues over there? What's needing to be cleared or learned or relearned or deconditioned or released, or you know, like there's something there that needs to be considered. You know, some purification or sanctification of practices, maybe even someone's business practices or professional practices that could have been questionable enough to come to this point. Let me get one more and then I'm done. Oh, well, yeah, that's the Queen of Swords. Something confirming here. Like I said, not everybody is privy to that perspective, especially not in the spirit, because everybody's not looking with those eyes or with that eye. But there's something either being revealed or made clear here by way of someone's circumstances, like some type of truth that's being unveiled or delivered. Could even be like, it could have been some type of secret, some type of case that was going on, you know, that wasn't necessarily public, you know, where it may be public record, but it's not something that's broadcasted or that would attract publicity per se. And so the ins and outs of it were being managed quietly, you know, like very discreetly. And there's something that's being, I would say, exposed vividly here between the Justice who has his sword and the Queen of Swords, and then the High Priestess who's just, you know, bonded to truth, devoted to truth. There's something here that it's like almost, you know, like having taken some type of oath or just haven't assumed a personal responsibility for sharing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, or being upfront about something where you can't miss the revelation, or you can't miss the exposure for what it is. Like someone may have had the resources or the access to keep things quiet or under wraps. You know how sometimes like a CEO will get a little slap on the wrist, but they'll retire or they'll step down from the board or whatever. But common folks will never know what the hell actually happened behind the scenes, you know, for that outcome to have manifested the way that it did. You know, like we just see what they want us to see, or what the public sees, whatever whomever is presenting it wants them to see. But anyway, there's something here that is speaking more loudly now. I don't know what that is exactly, but where things may have been quiet and muted before, there's some type of conclusion or settlement or closure being brought to something that maybe once was ambiguous or mysterious. It's like, nope, these are the key players, or this is what such and such was doing, blah blah, like every little piece of the storyline is just kind of being laid out, you know, for all to observe, or for anyone that cares, you know, like that has any interest in it to if you want to know the truth, you're going to get the truth. Something like that. I don't even know. Let me get out of here. There's something here that seems weird. Queen of Wands and the Seven of Swords. Yeah, like somebody was, like I said, there was some type of deception or getting away with something, sneaking under the radar, or, you know, being undetected in some type of way that, you know, it seems to be over. Like somebody is going to actually have to face the results of their actions and whatever, you know, the results of their choices and their actions, and whatever consequences or effects result from them. And they're not going to be necessarily able to do it quietly, you know. And maybe that's the other part of contention, is like somebody's terms of whatever, you know, settlement or whatever, put somebody in a position, like the records may not be sealed, or they don't have the level of discretion that they would like to be able to have, you know, where it's not necessarily public knowledge broadcasted. So someone's not only not going to be able to sweep this experience under the rug, it looks like it's showing in their active life, you know, by the things that the struggles that they are facing. And there's going to be some type of like final absolute display where if you thought you knew, you know, like it's one thing for it to be gossip, as I was saying earlier, or speculation or whispers, you know, tea, whatever. But it's a whole nother thing for it to be documented or publicized or broadcasted, or, you know, like common knowledge, news, and with evidence of how someone has been incriminated or is being persecuted or prosecuted for something here, something. It's like somebody is all out of get out of jail free cards, and it may not be actual physical jail or even spiritual, but the way that they usually are able to escape their consequences or slip away from the things that they've created, yeah, that's expired. That's done. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there. Yeah. And I'm also getting at the way with it being like a run-in toward the Queen of Wands. I feel like it's something like a very unsuspecting way also, which is the clincher as to why someone is now being outed, caught, or you know what I mean, like, or being put in a certain compromising position. Is somebody that's a seven of swords is pretty clever. You know, like I said, they're used to squeezing themselves out of tight situations. But it feels very contrasting of an energy in the Queen of Wands where it may have been the least expected downfall, you know, or least suspected, the most unusual suspect, I'll say, as the movie is The Usual Suspects, the most unusual suspect that ends up being like the booby trap, or you know, the downfall of what ultimately was probably a good run for somebody, a damn good run if they had found themselves at the King of Pentacles. You know, they had a damn good run. And now they about to run right into their consequences. But seemingly at a time when they thought they got away yet again. Yep. All right, so I'm going to leave it there. I keep saying that, but then I keep looking over this board. And the High Priestess with the Queen of Swords may even be some type of confession or testimony or something like that. Like I was saying, it's like something there's no choice now but to speak up about something for someone. You know, they feel somehow obligated or again beholden, loyal to speaking the truth. So that could be another piece of what once was concealed, covered, you know, whispered about, or just swept under the rug. It's like people or someone in particular are finding, you know, almost finding themselves feeling like they have a duty to speak their truth or speak the truth, whatever that amounts to be, if not one and the same. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.